Hi everyone, it's Erin here. Welcome to February 2021. I am not usually a Valentine's Day kind of girl, but here I am doing something rosy. And at first I was like, let's do flowers. And then I was like, well, yeah, Valentine's Day, I guess it sort of makes sense, doesn't it? And I'm super excited to announce that for the first time ever, this bullet journal layout that you're about to watch me set up is also available as a printable on my Etsy store. That's something that I'm going to be doing going forward, so if you are feeling extra lazy that month and you would like to just steal my setup, that's something that you can do. I just wanted to demonstrate something that I found really helpful because I have one of the Notebook Therapy Lay Flat Suki bullet journals. It does lay the pages absolutely flat, but I find I need to stick something under the left side of my book because that's kind of the shallower side of the pages. If I lift it up, you can kind of see what I mean. I've been using my eraser up until this point, but I worked out during this video that I could put my notebook cover under there and it was a lot more comfortable. So in case you're wondering why I keep doing that, that's why. So I'm going to start off with these roses and I will show you how to draw these as we go. I promise they are very, very easy. I am not a particularly artistically talented person, so if I can pull these off, you can definitely also pull these off. I've just picked 3 pink colored pens. This flesh pink doesn't show up quite the way on screen as it does in real life. It's not quite so peachy and orangey. It's definitely more on the pink leaning side. I've already gone through and sketched out where my roses are going to go, which you can see in pencil. I kind of drew them out, and because I was using a 2B pencil, they were really, really dark, so I erased over them. I can still kind of see where it is, and I'm just coloring in where these roses are going to go, and then I'm going to get back in there with the Sharpie pen and show you how to properly draw these cuties for yourself. I like doing them in little clusters close together like this because it's just like, here's a little pop of flowers, a little posy over here. So, the way you draw these bad boys, we're going to start off with the letter E, right in the middle, and then you're going to finish it up, make it a little circle around the E, almost like an @ symbol, but with an E, and then you're just going to start making these long semicircle kind of shapes all the way around, and when you've got a few layers of those done, you're going to change your semicircle to this elephant ear kind of wide 3 shape, just for the outside petals, and you're just going to randomly connect them up all the way around. Make sure that nothing overlaps too perfectly, and there you have one little rose. So again, letter E, all the way around, semicircles, all the way around that. If you like, you can just do only semicircles for a cute little rosebud kind of thing, which is sort of what I'm going for this one. Add a couple of those elephant ears when you feel like you're ready, and there's your rose. One more time for this little one. Letter E, connect it up, semicircle, all the way around. Couple more semicircles. This one I'll go just the semicircles so you can see. Cute little rosebud. Look at that. How easy was that? We're just going to add some leaves. They should be long and skinny. Color those in. This is a Tombow, but all the other pens that are colored are Faber-Castell Pitt Artist brush pens. As always, there's links in the description to all of the stuff that I use in case you'd like to also get your hands on it. There are some affiliate links in there as well, just so you know. I'm so sorry about the way the focus is behaving in this video. I know it's quite frustrating, especially when the footage is sped up. It kind of is like, are my eyes working or are they not? I should really know better as someone who works with cameras for a living, but I had forgotten that I'd changed my autofocus mode to AFC instead of AFS, so the camera was like, let me hunt for where I'm supposed to be focusing on, and it wasn't sure if it wanted to focus on my pen or on my hands or on the page. And my cat will come in later and then it's not sure if it wants to focus on him or what's going on, so I'm really sorry about that. I will make sure that I have fixed that for next month, I promise. I wanted to make sure that these little rosies were overlapping with my calendar just a little bit, not enough to eat into the space to write my events and everything down, but just enough to kind of make everything seem like it's meant to be together. It's all part of this same little setup ecosystem. One more bunch of flowers to do here. As always with my layouts, if you just don't add the decorative element, it's still going to look pretty great, just a super minimal version. I've really been enjoying thicker lines for my grids lately, so I'm using the Tombow brush pen, the not brush end of the Tombow dual tip brush pen to set up my lines. I did realize as I went through this that I should have been wiping off my ruler as I went, because this kind of felt tip situation can get a little bit messy, and I ended up smudging some stuff that I didn't want to smudge. Wonderful thing about setting up a digital version of this layout is that I could get rid of the smudges. I'll show you how I end up finding a way around that later on, which I really should have been doing it from the start. I knew this, I just didn't do it. In case you're wondering, each of these boxes are 5 spaces by 5 spaces. I'm using, as I said, the Notebook Therapy Tsuki journal. So you might find that there are a different number of dots in your journal and you might need to space things out differently to get a similar proportion kind of look. How amazing is it that if you like to start your weeks on a Monday, like I do, February 2021 begins on a Monday and ends on a Sunday, so it perfectly fits into these 4 rows of 4 perfect weeks, and it is the most satisfying thing because it makes a bullet journal layout just look so balanced and lovely, and I really appreciate that, February, and I would like it if you could tell some of the other months to do the same thing. Next month also starts on a Monday, but it doesn't have a perfect 28 days, so you know. I had considered some washi tape and I'd also considered some stickers for this layout, but then I got lazy and I couldn't decide if it was going to be too much. I really liked this stripped back kind of just a couple of roses sort of decoration, so I didn't end up adding anything on. The pages in these books are already so thick, so I'm not sure about sticking things into my book. For this year, the Leuchtturm pages were so thin that it kind of didn't bother me too much, but yeah, we'll see. Adding in February, hand lettering up here on the left side, just kind of curving around. That's also with the same Tombow dual tip. And there is the front page. Then it's time to do a little bit of erasing once everything's had a good chance to dry, and then we're going to turn the page and get started on the gratitude and habit tracker spread. As always, I like to track just 1 or 2 words for gratitude so that I'm not writing a whole lot. Journaling is something I've been meaning to get into, but I haven't yet. So I'll be doing that somewhere different, probably not in my bullet journal so much if I do decide to take that up. But for now, gratitude, just a word here and there. And this is Mitsu. My precious kitty angel has come to help us set up. Isn't he generous? He's going to stick around for a while, so please enjoy his cute little mustache. I always like to, on my gratitude and habit tracker pages, yes, have a column to write down the number for each day, but I also find I really need to have, oh, thanks Mitsu, I really need to have a letter for each day as well. Excuse me while we have a quick kitty scratching break. Who doesn't need a little kitty scratching break every now and then? That's why cat cafes exist, right? Sweet face. He kept wondering why I was looking at the camera and looking up to see what I was seeing. Anyway, yes, I really like to have this column next to it, or row next to the number for each day, where I can add the initial for each day of the week, because I really find I need that to be able to check back over, like, what did I do on Thursday? What did I do on Wednesday? What day is it? You know, it helps me just to really stay on track. So I'm alternating between 2 of my pinks, so that one of those is always the day of the week and the other is the date. And I'm just going to add those on top in the Sharpie pen, which is wonderful because you can erase over it straight away and it does not smudge. I still like to have my colors down first before I go in with the Sharpie pen though, just because sometimes the pens can pick up a little bit of the black ink and smear it around a little bit, even with a Sharpie pen. Not as much as other pens, but still just, makes it a little bit muddier in the colors, so I try to do it that way on purpose. Gonna get back in with this Tombow pen again for my lines. Usually I would do these just with a Sharpie pen, but I'm really feeling these thick, bold lines today. And when you're feeling something, you should do it, right? Within reason. This is the same layout that I've used for the last couple of months. I really like it. It has minimal number writing, which is a huge draw card for me. I just pop a dot on the day of the week when I did the thing that is the habit. And I have it divided into habits and skincare because I like to use some acids in my skincare routine, and sometimes my skin needs a break, and I like to alternate them so that it's getting, different benefits at different times. So that's why I have it separated here. I was going to put some washi tape down the middle here, but again, I've decided to just go with the really easy, straightforward kind of version of the layout, which is just a line instead of a washi tape. And then I have a bit more space for my gratitude section as well, so that's always good. Going going to get in with the eraser because I do find that if I lay down these Faber-Castell Pitt Artist brush pen colours over the top of the pencil marks, then I can't always erase all of the pencil marks. Some of it kind of gets trapped under the ink and you can't get it off, and so I'm trying to remember to erase first and then get in there with the pen, but I do still need my pencil lines to keep me on track for setting everything up. You can see a bit of my smudging starting to come in here now, in between the bottom two habits of that top section. There's a bit of a smudge going on there. Excuse me while my cat relocates. That is from the build-up of the ink. There's some at the bottom now too, the build-up of the ink on the ruler, and then as I move it in between lines, and also it's all over my fingers, it smudges a bit. So I'm just going to take off that extra ink on a bit of paper, just like rub the ruler on it. And I did go and wash my hands as well off camera, but slightly indelible ink. It kind of didn't come off my fingers. So I'm using some blotting paper as well every now and then just to make sure I'm not smearing things up even more. This is just a bit of paper from some Totoro stickers that I have kicking around. And now it's time to decorate. We're going to get in here with our little rosies. And I'm liking sort of mixing up these colors so that you don't have two of the same colored rows next to each other every time. Just so like if they go in threes, then there's one of each color. Sometimes I'll do a 4 and I'll just put 2 of whichever color I'm feeling at the time. Once again, laying down the color first, and then I'm going to go back in with the Sharpie pen to add the details in afterwards. Do you celebrate Valentine's Day, or do you kind of ignore it and let it go past? I've been with my partner for 15 years now, almost, as of next month, March. So we kind of just ignore it at this point. We're like, oh, I don't need anything, you don't need anything. Let's just like, not. Probably doesn't sound very romantic, but it works for us. I will admit these roses did make this layout take a little bit longer than my standard. I don't usually get into a lot of drawing in my layouts, but I really enjoyed making them. I didn't actually get sick of it. Usually by the end of a layout where I'm putting a lot of effort in, I get sick of it and kind of like, oh, I just want this to be done. And then my last ones kind of suck a little bit. But I liked these roses so much that, yeah, we got along really well, which is nice. It's always good to make sure that you overlap them a little bit too, because then they look like they make more sense with each other. Eraser time, the last step of any page, and then we're on to expenses and goals. These are two super duper simple spreads. I have the expenses page divided into 2 columns. I used to do this over 2 whole pages, but it was just, I didn't need that much space, so I was like, let's condense it. There are less pages in my notebook therapy than there were in my Leuchtturm 1917, so I've just made this 2-column kind of version, and those columns are divided into 3 columns each. And those go for item and cost and category. Every time I buy something, I just write it down in the appropriate column, what it was, what it cost, and what category it falls into. So, you know, if I buy petrol for my car, then it goes in the car category. And if I buy a dance class or whatever, it goes in my hobby category. Anything that I pay money for goes in here. End of the month, I tally it up by category and I transfer it into my overall cash flow spread at the beginning of the month alongside what I've earned for the month. And then I can see patterns and I can see where I should be saving money and where I'm spending too much money on Uber Eats. And yeah, comes in handy. Do recommend, if you haven't tried this before, give it a go, see how you feel about it, because it will make you more conscious of the fact that you have to write down whatever you're spending. And sometimes that will discourage you from spending on the thing that you should not be buying. On the goals page, I'm just going to do the beginning of the frame around the outside here. And before I get into adding the bottom line on, I'm going to add my heading first, and then I'm going to get into my little rosies down the bottom, as well as a little heading for each of the areas that I want to have specific goals for February. One is just general life goals, one is for one of my businesses, and one is for the other, because your girl likes to do a lot of work apparently. Decorative time, 3 tiny little roses on the expenses page because there's already so much going on. If you do go and grab my printables, you'll notice that I've changed expenses to spending on the printable version, and that's just because I find hand lettering the letter X really, really difficult. And all of the roses and all of the headings in my bullet journal printable have also been hand lettered and hand drawn as well. So, please give me a little concession for that one, that it's spending instead of expenses. Same thing, honestly, just I don't like to letter the letter X, and you can see how wonky it looks already on this layout. So don't worry, if you have the printable, yours will look much nicer. I'm going to go in over the top of the pencil lines this time with the Sharpie pen. I feel like this is more demonstrative of how the actual rose drawing system goes, and you'll probably be able to see it a little bit better as I get over to the right side of the page where my hand isn't so much in the way. It really is a pretty fail-safe system for doodling a rose. Is a little E, draw a circle around it, and then make little semicircles, and then make little elephant ears, and you're done. So easy, honestly. Give it a try, and tag me if you do try it, because I'd love to see. I have all of my social media info down in the description, of course, so if you'd like to follow along with I have a bullet journaling Instagram account where all of this stuff goes up, as well as here on YouTube. You can follow that. It is at erinsmith.art. Do tag me, and I would love to see your cute little roses, because I bet you they're going to be adorable. Sometimes I'll change up the layout of things as I'm going over it in ink. I'll be like, yeah, I don't think I really like where that leaf is, so I'll change it, and that is the beauty of any kind of art or bullet journaling or whatever. You make it yours, you make it work for you, you can change it as you like. Flexibility, we love to see it. I'm also using my notebook cover as kind of a wrist rest here, because I find writing and drawing at the bottom of a page really difficult when your hand kind of falls off the bottom, because it's on a different level now to the rest of the page. So this is just me cheating, using my lovely Mimco notebook cover, which unfortunately is no longer available if you fall in love with it. I'm very sorry, maybe you can find one secondhand somewhere. And I've decided to add just one more little rose out on the side here, just to really draw everything together. Awesome, happy with that. So I'm going to get in there with my eraser, get rid of the pencil lines, and this time I'm going to colour in. Hopefully you can't see too much muddiness from the Sharpie ink. I think I got away with it. I think I did okay. Sometimes I really like the looseness of having the colour down first too, so that you can be a bit imperfect and deliberately kind of colour outside the lines and stuff, and that always looks really nice. But I think both ways worked pretty well here. Once again, just trying to make sure that I distribute my 3 pinks quite evenly, so that there's no 2 roses right next to each other that are the same colour. I think I did end up doing 2 with that same first pink that I've just finished using. At the end, these 2 little ones to the right of the one that I'm colouring in right now, I think they both end up being that same pink, but it really worked. I wouldn't usually put this much effort into one little page of my bullet journal, but I really like this spread. I'm so proud of it. Pretty happy, yeah. Now that these little cuties are done, we can finish up this box on the bottom of the goals page. Just make sure that it's running behind the little bits of flowers that I wanted to pop in front of the box there. Beautiful, and then it's time to turn the page. Weekly spread time. I don't do a great many pages in my initial setup. I like to keep it pretty simple. It's honestly almost the same month to month. I just change the layout a little bit. Every now and then I'll introduce something new. So I'm sticking to my thick lines here, once again, being a little bit more vigilant about wiping off my ruler in between sections now, which is good. I'm learning my lessons, learning from my mistakes. I'm going for a vertical layout this time. I've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on the left page, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday on the right. I like to have a whole space for each of my weekend days, because I do quite a bit of my work on the weekends. I'm a wedding photographer, so I need to have space to make sure that every day has its own area for me to write things down. I also moonlight as a K-pop dance teacher, and sometimes I have to teach classes on Saturdays as well, so I like to have my Sunday separate so that it can have its own tasks and events and stuff like that. Now that I've got these boxes drawn out, and I do like that they're a little bit skewed to the right side, because so is my calendar back at the beginning, I'm just going to add a little pink line at the top here for the day of the week. That's where Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is going to go, in here with my Sharpie pen. Once again, just adding my little blotting sheet that I've been using to wipe off my ruler underneath my hand, so that I don't accidentally smudge any of the ink that's on my hand or any of the ink that's on the page around as I'm moving things. And I'm going to get rosy again, and I'm going in with the pen this time again, because I figure you kind of get the hang of it on the first few spreads, and by the time you get to the end of the book, you're like, oh, there's my cat again. He knows when I'm working on bullet journal things, and he's got to come and help out. Hi, Mitsu. Yeah, you really get the hang of it as you go. So by the end, you're like, I don't need a guide anymore. I don't need my pencil lines. I know what I'm doing. This time I'm actually having my flowers go behind the setup, so they're hiding a little bit behind the box, which makes the boxes of the days pop forward a little bit, and I like that a lot. One thing that you'll notice if you've watched my bullet journal flip through video from last year is I get really lazy after the first weekly spread because I only typically film the first one for you guys to go up into this video, and then I set the other ones up off camera. And sometimes I'm like, decorations? No, I'm sorry, we're done with decorations here. Decorations are only for YouTube and not for any other time. So it'll be interesting to see if I go ahead and add all of the roses to each of my subsequent weekly spreads. There's only 3 more to do for this month, so that's handy, but I guess you'll have to wait and see my next flip through video to see if that eventuates or not. Before I go to color these ones in, this looks really lovely as just line art, so if you weren't into having colors in your book and you wanted to decorate but still just stick with only 1 or 2 pens, you could absolutely add these little roses in and just keep things really sleek and clean without introducing an element of color. And your book's still going to look really groovy and nice, so, you know, keep that in mind. If you like the roses but you're not into the colors, ditch the colors. Do you. Make it work for you. That's what it's all about. Me, I like the colors, so, you know, I'm going to get in here and add them on again. While I'm coloring these in, I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about my bullet journal printables for this month. You can jump onto my Etsy store at the link in the description down below. You can find this layout exactly as it is, with a couple of little adjustments like the expenses being changed to spending and not having any smudges. So it's got every spread that you've seen here. It's also got a couple of variations. So the first one, the calendar, there's a version of that doesn't have the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it also doesn't have the February, and it has an extra row along the top so that you can adapt it to any month that you'd like to. It doesn't have to be February 2021. It can be any month in any year. I've also got a version of the weeklies for the whole month, not just for this first week, and there's also a blank version of that one as well, so you can make that work for any week, in any month, in any year that you would like to. Makes it a little bit more versatile because you can buy it just once on the store and then use it forever if you wanted to. If you were like, this is my dream layout and I never want to stray from it, you can do that. Also, if you think this is a pretty great starting point for you, but there are some other spreads that you like to add in that I haven't drawn out, I've included a page that is just rosy decorations so that you can kind of tie everything together. You can just cut those out and stick them in like they're stickers, except with your own adhesive. And then you can keep your layout looking really cohesive and lovely and all together. And here's the final flip through. I hope you've enjoyed watching me set this up, and I do hope that you jump onto Etsy and have a look. I do have a couple of other options there available for purchase too. I have sort of the beginning of 2021, which is modeled on my own layout, and also a January setup as well. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope you have a wonderful month of February, and I will catch you again real soon. Bye!